And we've had a word from a sponsor a few times. We're going to get into the meat of it because we have minus 30 something minutes into this program. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Brother Raskalanji. Welcome back to the microphones and go into this topic. What do you want to call it? Haiti? An overview? Historical overview?
Yeah, overview of Haiti. I'd just like to give a big shout out to all the Africans here in the Western world, and in particular as we deal here with Haiti. It's very pivotal because Haiti, being the first liberated territory here in the Western world, the first black republic. So I just like to say to our people, who are members and citizens of the Republic of New Africa here in the Western world, one territory here in particular, Haiti, that have, set the stage for the liberation of our people. And we should be proud of the Haitian people in particular, that they set the stage for the liberation of our people. But throughout the decades and, over the centuries, that we see that imperialism have put Haiti in such a condition that they are making an example out of Haiti that no other black people within the hemisphere should do what Haiti did. But that, as it is, we say, that the struggle continues, and, we give all our support to the Haitian people. And, Brother Socrates, as Brother Baba has said in one of his songs, many more will have to suffer, many more will have to die. Don't ask me why, but all that is part of the struggle. I'd just like to go into our program with a quote from the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. History is the landmark by which we are directed into the course of life. The history of a movement, the history of a nation, the history of a race is the guidepost of that movement's destiny, that nation's destiny, that race's destiny. The whole history of the slave trade and slavery is a sequence of revolts. Professor Bruno D. Lara told a UNESCO meeting of experts in 1978, every part of the New World where slavery was practiced experienced its share of slave revolts, large and small. All were crushed with terrifying brutality, all except for the revolution of the African slave in the French colony of Santo Domingo. On 22nd August 1791, 2 years and 1 month after the storming of the Bastille, the slaves of Santo Domingo rose and in 12 years of war inscribed one of the most inspiring chapters in the annals of humanity's struggle for liberation. In January 1804, after the French expeditionary force Napoleon had dispatched to the island was defeated, Dessalines halted the Independence Day proceedings briefly in order to rip out a band of white bunting from the new national flag. We want nothing white in our flag, he declared. So embittered towards their former white masters had the ex-slaves become. The liberators renamed their island Haiti and proclaimed it the first Negro Republic in the New World. Haiti, an African nation in the Caribbean, lit the torch of African freedom 2 centuries ago. That torch was passed on from Toussaint Louverture to Henry Sylvester Williams. 96 years later, it was carried across the finishing line by Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela 94 years later. When Nelson Mandela was sworn in as South Africa's first democratically elected head of state in 1994, In every part of the world, his inauguration was hailed as making the official end of the system of institutionalized racism that had assailed the dignity and human worth of every person of African descent for the previous 500 years of interaction between Europeans and Africans. The Atlantic slave trade and the triangular trade cycle of which it was an indispensable link where the material undergirding of white racism that had legitimized and sustained it. The colonial conquest of Africa during the latter part of the 19th century cemented this relationship while widening the circle of stakeholders in racism and exponentially increasing its victims. So that's just a basic overview, how long we have been struggling against, white supremacy and racism, and Haiti, took the mantle and liberated its land, and from that day on, the European powers have insisted, and we have seen them manifest it in terms of, keeping Haiti where it is today, and we're saying that the struggle continues.
Now the thing is, as I said, I was prompted to get this conversation going again because of the perception and the misunderstanding and the lack of people trying to understand, because you can be fed misinformation and you accept it. But I think the onus is on us to try to understand why. I mentioned last week on the program, I put it out there for thought. What if Russia did not come to the aid of Cuba after the Cuban Revolution, where they kicked out the American interests? What would have been the status of Cuba today? Now, we know they're in the news right now with some issues, some demonstrations, and what's going on in Cuba. But I maintain that when the question is asked, why can't Haitians stand on their own? Cuba didn't reach to the point where they were allowed to stand on their own because Russia came to their aid. No nation, even within the CARICOM construct, has really stood up to defend Haiti and what it stood for. Okay? We know the biblical verse about must Simon bear the cost alone and all will go free. That has been Haiti's plight. From 1791 to 1804, the independence, and all the European powers who decided to just not only destabilize the economy, but put them under the economic gun. 12 battleships sent down by France put Haiti on the ransom. You must pay us reparation unless we destroy your country. And so for so many years they had to pay France, I think it was 90% of the GDP. And later on, when they were able to pay it off, they had to renegotiate through a US bank at an extortionary rate just to maintain themselves. And so whereas Cuba was assisted by Russia, even the embargo that's still going on today is crippling Cuba, but they were assisted to a very large extent by Russia. And Cuba is more readily embraced within the region, whereas Haiti is left to fend for themselves. Why? And we have many examples of how they had been targeted. At one point, the U.S. interest in Haiti was to use it as a staging ground to invade Cuba. Their foreign policy towards Haiti, whereas you find back in the mid-70s, there was when Castro sent so many Cubans to the U.S., the flotilla. I think Carter was the president. Haitians don't get the reception in the U.S. So there's a sustained, targeted foreign policy approach to keep Haiti crippled, etc. And now of late we're hearing Biden saying, well, they need to assist the Cubans with the vaccine. He don't trust the Cuban vaccine. And they want to send vaccine into Haiti when it serves their purpose. But I'm saying Haiti should not be allowed to stand alone for what it did for black people in terms of breaking down this image of white supremacy by defeating all the major battles of Europe. I mean, our armies, Napoleon, France's greatest general, they demoralized him. They kicked out the French, the Spanish, the Americans, the British, all on their own. So they have stood on their own all these many years and have been paying the price. So what's happening now in Haiti, we say, oh, look at them again. Right demonstration. There's a reason it's orchestrated to keep them in poverty. Right? And so we need to stop asking why they can't stand their own and understand why this situation is allowed to happen and give them more support.
Well, brother, you give such a great detail of the historical development of Haiti, and that's what our people don't understand. Mm-hmm. It's like, they say that the imperialist forces, right, they pose, they design certain information around certain things, especially when it comes to Haiti, to give our people the impression that it's something inherent in our people that's why we can't get it together. Mm-hmm. No, they don't look at the underlying causes of why these things are happening.
Because we took the brainwashing.
Exactly. So you outline the embargo. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the embargo on Cuba. There was an embargo on Haiti from its inception.
By the Americans also. What I'm saying, the difference is Russia came to the aid of Cuba. Yeah, no one has come to the aid of Haiti.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you...
Same embargo.
Remember when Comrade Fidel took over Cuba, he actually wanted the United States to assist. But the United States pushed him away, so he had no other choice but to go to the Soviet Union.
After he kicked out the U.S. interest from Cuba?
Exactly.
No, it was a revolution to get rid of them and the interest.
So what I'm saying to you now, back in 1804 when Haiti got its independence, there was no other free country in the Western world. Everywhere was slavery. Mm-hmm. Now, people like to talk about democracy. You know what I mean? That everything that our oppressors throw out there, our people gravitate to it. No, Haiti was the only democratic country in the Western world for hundreds of years.
And legislated that only Haitians can own land in Haiti.
You see what I'm saying?
So the foreign interest didn't want that.
And that what I'm saying to you now is that every place else was slavery, in the great United States. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you hear when people talk about democracy. Now, I like to pose the question, was slavery democracy?
Of course not.
No, but what I'm saying, some people really even give you that argument because
the perception was there was this big democratic shining beacon on the hill that you should follow as example.
Exactly. But they uphold slavery. The only place in the Western world that there wasn't slavery, right, was in Haiti. Mm-hmm. Now, the Haitians, Simon Boulevard in South America.
Yep.
Haiti assisted them in everywhere, and tell him, look here, when you free South America, you free any attack, free the slaves. And you're welcome to Haiti anytime. And they don't even give assistance militarily and monetarily. So what we're saying that our people have to understand the significance of Haiti. No, so much propaganda.
We're going to pause for a word shortly.
Huh?
Go ahead, we're going to pause for a word from a sponsor shortly.
So much propaganda has been spread about Haiti that our people internalize it and believe it. So I'm saying to our people, you hear what is taking place in Haiti now, especially what is going on. My understanding, the present president of Haiti, right, was installed by the United States government.
He was.
And then when I hear people saying, he didn't want the vaccination to come there. I don't know too much about that. Mm-hmm. But if that is the case, when you check out the whole agenda, he was defending the United States interests. You know what I'm saying?
And that's why his vice president asked for the U.S. intervention, singing from the same hymn book.
Okay, then.
By the way, we have to pause. We did start late, so we're going to pause at this point for a word from our sponsors and get back into the debate. That's good.
Your computer or phone is your Flow cashier. Thanks to Fast Pay on our website, it's a quick and easy way to pay your bills anytime on any device. No need to register. Simply select the bill to be paid, enter your account number or mobile number and the amount you wish to pay, plus where to email the receipt. Then make the credit card payment. It's that easy. Fast Pay for Flow bill payments at discoverflow.co.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
Staying healthy has taken on a whole new meaning these days. So we ask, why do you put your health first?
As a business professional, I need to make the most out of my work days.
I'm a teacher and I want to be there for my students.
In sports, I have to be in top form for my team.
Motherhood, I just got to keep up with my kids.
Because my patients rely on me to be at my best.
Staying healthy is important for many of us, and Halib Orange makes it easy. Just one 1,000 milligram tablet of vitamin C gives your immune system a flavorful boost, leaving you protected and feeling good for the day ahead. Halib Orange Vitamin C. Just pop the cap, drop it in water, let it fizz, and enjoy. Part of the Halib Orange family.
It's 9 minutes moving up to the midday hour, and we want to welcome back our viewers and listeners. We did have a late start today, so welcome back to the program. And we were in discussion about what's happening in Haiti, trying to give a historic overview from 1791, 1804, what it meant to the Haitian people, what it meant to the outer world. You can have in 1804 a black independent nation, showing that they would have defeated the myth of white supremacy. The Americans were not allowed that. The French were not allowed that. It was a slap in their faces to see Napoleon, the greatest army, defeated by Haitians. And we go straight to the line. Call 11 Voices. Good day, good morning, 11 Voices.
Hi, morning. I'm just calling to give my input.
Thank you very much.
For years, I was wondering about the vendors on the street, and, I'm not knocking any of them because I have some friends who are also vendors.
Yes.
But like the lady before, the last person who called, she said that, in fact, persons who are in restaurants, like, for example, the vendors who are selling food, persons who are in restaurants have to pay. Business license, they have to pay. They have to go and do the food and get the food handler's permit, and all these different things they have to do.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the persons on the sidewalks, in the streets, I think maybe they might have to have a food
handler's permit?
Hello?
They would have to have the food handler's permit if they deal with food, yes.
And definitely a business license. But I know of persons who don't have any of those things, because
yes,
sometimes the checks are not done. But anyhow, what the problem I have with some of them is that they want to sell at the same price of persons who inside of buildings paying rent.
I understand that.
And your overhead cost is low if you're on the road, because you don't have that rent to pay. Maybe you might pay and the electricity bill as well, and the water bill. You understand? And so yes, they may pay the business license, and yes, they may do the food handler's permit.
Yes.
But there's a lot of other things that they're not paying for, and then they have the same cost. And we tend to say, oh, the Chinese this and the Chinese that. And I have to say to a person, if you sell a $7 food with the food that we eat here, right, you will get a lot more customers than if you sell a plate of food for $25 on the side of the road where your overheads are low. your cost is low. You can actually do that $7 because the Chinese, they make money off of volume. Because they have I sure they even have more taxes than the rest of us because a lot of them are not from here. And so we need to look at the economics of all of this.
Yes.
Instead of saying, oh, we're trying the vendors off the thing, we need to look at different ways.
All sides.
In which, sorry?
We have to look at all sides of the coin, yes.
Yes, right? And I do sympathize with the vendors because now they have to go back to the drawing board and say, well, how do I diversify or how do I re-establish myself? Right? It is very uncomfortable to walk on this. It was very uncomfortable to walk on the sidewalk. And I remember a time my husband had an altercation with a lady. He was driving his taxi bus. I'm not going to say where because I'm not here to point out any one person. And the lady said to my husband, she had an umbrella and it was hanging off into the road. And she said to my husband, watch me umbrella, you know. But my husband, being who he is, he simply said to her, well, you need to watch my bus because I'm paying more taxes for this than you were for being on that sidewalk.
Yes,
so what you need to do is be aware of my bus. And he was correct. And he was respectful, and I really appreciated that. But there are a lot of sides to the coin, and yes, I'm grateful that the government would have made it a little bit more easier for us to maneuver the sidewalks and stuff, because that is what they are for. But I am also sympathetic to the vendors who were moved. I will not be able to, make the revenues that they made before being on the outside. But like I said, it will now allow for creativity and the real good use of your brain to figure out how do I navigate out of this situation.
Well, thank you for your contribution.
That's why, she said, yeah.
Right.
So that's people are now using their cars to work out of people, and it's not just the food vendors, it's also the persons who sell their arts and crafts, it's also the persons who sell their farm produce and things like that. And I think the market is the best place for the farm produce because what you do is you level off the playing field.
Appreciate that.
Now in one space, so people have the customers will now control the price, as opposed to you doing as you like because you're in a very good spot and people don't have the time to go elsewhere. You can now say, well, you're selling me a pound of potato for $4. The lady over there got it for $2.
To the next
and
stall.
at some point, you will have to drive your cost down because there is now a high supply, and so in that particular one space, and so now it's going to be a win-win situation. You will get some stuff sold, but you will also have to make sure you be very careful of your price.
Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution.
You're welcome.
I think there's a general appreciation for people who want to be self-sufficient. And it also helps the government by not depending on the government for a job. You go out there and you establish yourself as a vendor, whatever, but it's been very challenging for a lot of people in SKN. And I think there's been some hiccups. I've seen some videotapes over the weekend where people challenge a certain establishment or oppose to a certain vendor. And I think the government, in their consideration, will have to look at that aspect. How will you appease all the interest? And I think they're doing that. I can't swear by them, but based on what I've heard, they're looking to see how they can oppose that and bring easement to the many factors as it relates to the vendors. We got about 2 minutes before we go to the midday newscast, but back to our topic, Ras, go ahead.
Yes, as you know, we were discussing the whole question of Haiti, and this is the calling about the vending and what's taking place on the sidewalks. But probably on another program, because we in the African consciousness movement, we are bringing about trying to establish the United Liamegan Food Co-op.
Okay.
Where we want all our people, if we can't get all, most of our people to join a co-op to deal with food. Because what is taking place, we see that there's a lot of other ethnic groups dominating that particular segment of the economy, which we dominated when in the 70s and 80s, that you could go into any village and there was a local shop or store that, that service our people. So we are saying that we are forming the United Lion Food Cooperative, where everybody gonna have an equal stake in it.
Okay.
You understand? At this present time, but like I said, that's another program.
All right.
That's another program, because we want to stick to the issue. But we had to, sidetrack to that, because the sister.
Except there's a general need to reset if we had to go forward. Because what COVID has taught us, the world as we knew it, that's gone. You have to become more self-reliant. A lot of emphasis have been put into agriculture, but it's the management of it. So we have to reset, rethink, and chart the way forward.
Yeah, but in this instance, when we're dealing with the food co-op, not just agricultural produce, food in general. Because what we want to do, we want to establish businesses in terms of food.
Outlets?
Yeah, where you could come and, because it's your business. What Granny say, your business is our business. In the sense that within a co-op, we set it up in a co-op, a food cooperative, where everybody have equal stake.
A central outlet, like Semaco back in the day?
Just like that. And not only that, but throughout the whole island.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? But we just put in that word sound out there.
Okay.
So people can understand what is coming.
Beautiful. We're going to put the brakes on the program for now, because we have to acknowledge the newscast. And we hope to get our callers and listeners back after the news break and, get back in the discussion.
Exactly.
So, lady engineer, take it away.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WINNFM News, I am Devon Cornelius. Our top stories: BVI COVID-19 related death toll rises to 17, hospitalization stats decreases to 24. PAHO calls for more access on COVID-19 vaccines. The former Chief Minister of Montserrat sentenced. Now, the details. A person of interest who was being sought by the police in relation to the death of 36-year-old Travis Clark turned himself in on Saturday, July 17th, accompanied by one of his parents. Clark was fatally shot in the Happy Hill area on July 16, 2021 in Charlestown, Nevis. Several searches and interviews have been conducted by the police already. A vehicle used by the armed assailant to flee the scene was also recovered by the police Saturday morning. As the investigation into the matter continues, the police are making an appeal to anyone who might have seen or heard something to say something by contacting the Charlestown Police Station at 469-5391, the nearest police station, or the crime hotline at 707. The former Chief Minister and prominent attorney at law David Brandt has been sentenced to 15 years in jail. He was found guilty of 6 counts of sexual exploitation and 1 count of prevention of justice. More in our 6 p.m. newscast. The British Virgin Islands COVID-19 related death toll has now risen to 17, following 3 additional deaths, which include 3 males. This is according to a media release from the Ministry of Health and Social Development on Sunday, July 18th, which confirmed that the deceased are a 45-year-old male, a 49-year-old male, and a 39-year-old male who died Saturday at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital. Minister of Health Carvin Malone expressed condolences to the families and loved ones on behalf of the government of the Virgin Islands. He said, "May God continue to comfort the many families and friends who are hurting and mourning the loss of their loved ones. We will spare no cost, no effort, or no time to get whatever we need to stabilize this condition and return to the Virgin Islands that we know, the Virgin Islands that we love," Minister Malone added. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 hospital admissions summary statistics as of July 18th are as follows. 3 persons admitted to the ER with 4 deaths. 16 persons admitted to the COVID-19 ward with 8 deaths. 1 person admitted to behavioral health unit remains in hospital. 4 persons admitted to ICU with 4 deaths. 14 persons were discharged from the COVID-19 ward. 24 hospital admitted patients, 1 vaccinated, and 23 are unvaccinated. As the world braces itself for another wave of the COVID-19 infections, the Pan American Health Organization PAHO has urged local governments to remain vigilant and steadfast in enforcing public health measures and surveillance. A number of countries in Central America, the Caribbean, and South America have seen a spike in their COVID-19 cases last week, PAHO Director Carissa Etienne recently disclosed. Cases rise when complacency sets in, Etienne said in a press briefing. We are all tired, but after experiencing successive peaks of infections in the same locations, we must break this cycle by embracing public health measures early and consistently. In the Caribbean, Cuba has reported the highest number of weekly cases since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, cases have tripled in the British Virgin Islands following its move to welcome cruise ships to its docks. When variants of concern circulate, she continued, it's even more important that countries step up surveillance, especially while vaccine coverage remains low. The health agency has also stressed and has called for an increased access to vaccines, especially in the Caribbean, where the doses continue to be inaccessible for most people. As countries that struck deals with vaccine manufacturers pull further ahead, vaccination coverage continues to linger in the single digits for much of our region, Etienne lamented. This week, Haiti received the 500,000 vaccine shots donated by the United States through the COVAX facility. These vaccines, which have obtained WHO emergency use license, will be administered free of charge to the Haitian population, Dr. Marie Guita Roy Clement, Haiti's Minister of Public Health and Population, announced. Meanwhile, in the Bahamas, a local newspaper has reported that because of the shortage in the supply of AstraZeneca vaccines, the local government has halted administering the first dose to focus on the second dose jabs. An article from the National Defense magazine cited PAHO, stating that as of the end of May, Chinese-made vaccines accounted for 82% of all doses administered in Chile, 86% in El Salvador, and 32% in Peru. At the invitation of the government of St. Lucia, the Caribbean Community CARICOM will be fielding a CARICOM election observation mission to monitor the general elections which will be held in that country on Monday, July 26, 2021. The 10-member mission will be headed by Fern Narcis-Scope, Chief Elections Officer of Trinidad and Tobago. The CARICOM election observation mission proposes to meet with the electoral officials, leaders of political parties, and other stakeholders of St. Lucia. It will also monitor the election campaign environment and the voting process, including the opening of the polls, the casting of votes, the closing of the poll, and the counting of the ballots. The members of the observation mission will arrive in St. Lucia over the period 20th to 22nd July 2021 and will depart on 28th and 29th July 2021.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has not said whether or not he will call for a snap election, but there is still much speculation that he will still do so. But he says his party is more concerned about providing what people need, not only in the capital, but in the Family Islands, by creating what he says is a Bahamian dream. And according to Dr. Minnis, his party is well on the way to doing just that.
The movement will continue to pursue ensuring that we have a better Bahamas moving forward. We will ensure that each Bahamian has an opportunity to partake in the Bahamian dream. And that is free education, which we've already done in terms of University of Bahamas, in terms of BTVI. Those individuals coming from the Family Islands, they're given $500 to assist them with accommodation. That's one component of Bahamian dream, and we would make available to all who from various family islands who have certification in preschool. We would give them the land, and they would be funded, etc., to establish preschools there. That's one component of the Bahamian Dream. Then the other component, we're talking about jobs, we're talking about healthcare, and we're talking about homes. And that's why, to complete the Bahamian Dream, not only education, home, accommodation, which we're pursuing, health, and employment. And we're planning for the future. And that's why we introduce a program so that we can hire as many of our young people, university students, etc., within the government sector and send them off for further advancement of their education.
The Prime Minister also taking note of a recent election poll putting the FNM and Progressive Liberal Party at the same ranking in terms of voter favorability. Now, Dr. Minnis says while he follows poll trends, it is not a priority for his government at this time.
I believe in polls, but I believe most in the Bahamian people. Bahamian people have seen what we've done. Bahamian people have recognized, in spite of the challenges that we've met, we've done an excellent job in growing the Bahamas to this level. And I want to reassure the Bahamian people that once we continue to we continue along this particular track and we can vaccinate our population, the type of economic boom that they would see under the Free National Movement, they would have never seen before.
As speculation mounts that the nation's leader is gearing up to call an early election, opposition leader Philip Davis says he believes Dr. Hubert Minnis is planning to impose more taxes after the election if he wins. Davis says that, along with other factors, issues with meeting the budget projections could be leading the Prime Minister in that direction.
We're hearing that they're going to raise taxes on the poor once again, and I think he suspects that before he does it, he'll seek another mandate. You know, he's being criticized by his own team members. He has a House Speaker that's not cooperating with him. So those challenges, I suspect, might be the motivating factor for him to move on, because I don't think, from what we have seen of the Prime Minister over the last several years, that he would want to give up power so easily by the calling of a snap election.
The People's National Party's Vice Presidents Damian Crawford, Wickham Neal and Michael Phillips, along with Party Chairman Philip Paulwell, have resigned their positions with immediate effect. Vice President Michael Phillips, who was recently nominated, has also decided to withdraw his nomination for re-election. Now, in a release, the members stated that their decision was based on the risk of another internal election before the wounds of the last presidential election were adequately healed. Now, the release further stated that despite all reasonable efforts to broker a platform of unity, there were otherwise covert attempts to sabotage the goal of peace and harmony with a plan to hoard the available positions, in line with previous public statements made by party leader Mark Golding, who pronounced a lack of trust for persons who did not support him in his campaign and his preference to surround himself with only individuals who overtly endorsed his candidacy. Now, joining us to dissect this major developing story is senior producer, program host, and experienced political reporter Dion Jackson Miller. Dion, a major development in an already fractured People's National Party. Just how significant news is this?
It's hard to underplay or to downplay the significance of this, Giovanni. It was just 8 months ago that Mark Golding was elected the new leader of the People's National Party. He came into that position having just suffered the PNP a bruising loss in the election. Now, I did speak to the General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell. He said he can't comment at this time except to say that there are wide-ranging discussions going on, and later in the afternoon we'll be able to talk with him again. I can tell you from our soundings, it seems as if this has come as a surprise to the leadership. You mentioned, for instance, that Vice President Michael Phillips has decided to withdraw his nomination. It was just 1 day ago that Michael Phillips, in fact, on his Twitter page was proclaiming the fact that he had just been duly nominated and he looks forward to serving again. So there are all kinds of wheels within wheels going on here. One of the most significant parts of this, certainly for the leadership of the PNP, would be the part of the statement that speaks to disunity, and the sentence that says the level of disunity has deepened since the internal election, with the victor not acknowledging that unity is the responsibility of the victorious. I can tell you there are a number of moves that Mark Golding has made that came in for a lot of criticism. For instance, in the Senate, where he replaced Donna Scott Motley, who by all accounts had been doing an exceptional job as a leader of opposition business, with Peter Bunting, who is of course his close confidant, and relegated Donna Scott Motley to the deputy position. A lot of people saw that as a wrong move, as an indicator of the fact that he was elevating the people who supported him, and rather than focusing on unity and building unity.
But to even give more context, Dion, just yesterday news came that Mandeville Mayor Donovan Mitchell, the PNP's Donovan Mitchell, was resigning his position, and then a last-ditch effort by senior members got him to change his mind. What does this say then about the leadership of Mark Golding?
Well, it's this biggest test yet that he is facing, and it's one that he is going to have to pass, if we're using test parlance, if the party is to have any reasonable chance of looking like a viable opposition in any recent time to come.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, Dion Jackson Miller there, our senior program producer and program host, as well as experienced political reporter.
We now bring you these international reports.
Every day, around 50,000 people in England test positive for COVID-19, the highest number in 6 months and rising fast. Most are young, unvaccinated, fit enough to survive, but not all. 277 people died last week, and among the vulnerable, so-called Freedom Day brings little more than anxiety.
There's a lot of concerning information coming out which show rising hospitalisations in the UK, rising case numbers, the attendant concerns of the rising numbers of people suffering from long COVID symptoms in this country. But also, just in the last 24 hours or so, we're starting to hear from doctors that NHS services are starting to have clinics and services cancelled because of the high rates of staff sickness and isolation that's needing to happen.
It's a small mercy then that the schools will close in a few days' time. More than 800,000 children were sent home last week because someone in a year group bubble tested positive. Many will begin their summer break in isolation. Parents will worry about the ongoing risk of infection.
I won't give up the mask, and nor my children or my husband. We won't. We will wear the mask because I can't see really a nice and clear future in the next months.
To wear them or not to wear them, masks are a question the government has wrestled with, but without conclusive answers. They'll no longer be required by law, but most offices, shops and transport companies will continue to encourage them. And there's this, the National Health Service app pinging away incessantly, telling hundreds of thousands of people to self-isolate each week because a close contact has tested positive. And each ping means income lost, staff shortages, holiday plans in ruins. There is some good news. Singing is back, banned since the start of the pandemic, and a chorus of full-throated approval for that.
For people who sing, whether you sing as an amateur or a professional, it's a very important part of your life. It's a way of keeping your sanity and keeping your relationship to the world. And so for us to be able to finally get together and hear a sound around us, not just coming out of a few speakers in front of our computer, it's just been revelatory.
It means churches, nightclubs and theatres can roar back into life, freed also from social distancing rules. But will there be people brave enough to fill them?
It may be called Freedom Day for some, Jonah, but in fact for the Prime Minister and his Finance Minister, one wonders whether, to a certain extent, they might have shot themselves in the foot by sort of singing the praises of Freedom Day.
Well, you know, the government's rationale, in the words of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, is if not now, when? If you wait, as the scientists are urging, for more people to be vaccinated, there are always going to be gaps in that vaccine programme, vulnerabilities within it. Well, then you risk the possibility of a higher peak later in the year going into the winter, a difficult time for the NHS. Anyway, they don't want to have to do that. You would also be missing out on the summer, the natural firebreak, as he called it, of the schools being off, preventing wider spread infections there. And all the while, you've noticed in the government messaging here, it's become ever less gung-ho, ever more tempered, frankly quite confusing. People are being told to go out and live their lives, but to do so with maximum caution, exercising personal responsibility. And on that point you raised there, with the hundreds of thousands of people being pinged into isolation every week, include now Boris Johnson himself, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, the Treasury Secretary, and indeed the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid, who's actually got the virus. These are the three most senior, arguably, government figures in fighting COVID. All will be watching the so-called celebration of Freedom Day tightly locked up inside their homes.
Jonah Hull, for the latest. Thanks very much for joining us from our London Broadcast Centre. Dipti Gurdasani is a clinical epidemiologist and senior lecturer at Queen Mary University in London. Now, she says lifting restrictions could lead to more mutations that can be more dangerous.
This is not a virus that we can live with. I mean, we are seeing this virus evolve and lead to a new highly transmissible variant every few months, which then takes over across the world and leads to another surge. The only way to prevent this sort of virus adaptation and protect our precious vaccine resources is to prevent transmission. And that's not just in a regional level, but in a global level. We know that many countries don't have adequate access to vaccines yet, and it'll be a long time, perhaps even 1 or 2 years before everyone is vaccinated. And in that period of time, if we allow transmission to continue at high levels, we will see many, many more new variants, and one could potentially escape vaccines more fully, which could have implications for the pandemic across the globe. So I think countries need to think carefully about not just vaccination strategies, but also how to keep transmission low with good surveillance, test, trace, isolate systems, and good measures to deal with aerosol transmission, like investment in ventilation in indoor environments and masking and good border controls until we all get this under control. What's happened now is we've had a highly transmissible strain emerge, which has threatened elimination in areas that haven't had transmission for long periods of time, like Vietnam. And that's what's really concerning. And if we continue to live with this virus, we're going to see more and more transmissible strains. And at some point, elimination is going to become impossible. And they may also keep ahead of our vaccines, which means even with vaccines, we may not be able to protect ourselves. And that will be a really dangerous place to be.
You are listening to the WINNFM 98.9 newscast. Let's recap our top stories. BVI COVID-19 related death toll rises to 17, hospitalization stats decreases to 24. PAHO calls for more access on COVID-19 vaccines. The former Chief Minister of Montserrat sentenced. I'm Devon Cornelius. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribou.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back, but this time Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices and fantastic deals, more of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
And we're back. I'd love to say good afternoon and welcome back to all our listeners and viewers. Welcome back to the second segment of today's program of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of this program, and you're live from the studios of WINNFM 98.9. Got with us today, Brother Ross Kalanji, and today we were discussing, trying to give a historic overview of what's been going on with Haiti up to present time. I was told by our very lovely engineer, informed that the current president, acting president, Mr. Claude Joseph, has stepped aside. And I want to thank you for that. I didn't know. But there's an ongoing saga with Haiti. And the general perception is, well, as one person sang it years ago, well, they work too much voodoo. That is why they are so embattled. And I asked the question because of the earthquake, has some issues, national disasters. And I was asking, look at the amount of national disasters that affect Japan. Earthquake, etc., etc. Nobody say, well, okay, it's voodoo. But because we are so brainwashed to believe what we were told and taught, because after the revolution in 1791 and the independence in 1804, when Haitians traveled, they were told, or like when they went to Jamaica, the overlords told Jamaicans that don't deal with Haitians because they blah, 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 blah. Let's, we missed a call. Call away, we apologize if you wish to call back. And so that stigmatization of Haitians anywhere they traveled, we actually just gobbled up and believed it. When it comes to saying, because we have an issue with Haitians, they go to St. Martin, we have an issue with Haitians. Because we were brainwashed from the plantation days that Haitians are demonic people, they work voodoo, they worship this and that, not the fact that they are responsible for freedom. Caller Live on Voices, welcome to the program. Good day, caller.
Hello.
You're live on Voices.
Yes, good king.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good day. I'm good.
Beautiful.
Listen, good afternoon, Maskalunji.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Yeah. What we need to look at, right? How we need to analyze this assassination of the president in Haiti. I mentioned on the program earlier, I think was last week, it could have been WINNFM, but Freedom. Now let us look what happened in the U.S. They released Bill Cosby, and they arrested, let's say, Jacob Zuma in South Africa. Maybe there are different newscasts that says he either gave himself up, or they arrested him. Bill Cosby release was a big distraction. We need to know the games and how they're playing it today. I mentioned this last week, and we now have the president of Haiti being assassinated. And we have had presidents and people in political offices saying that they condemn the assassination of the Haitian president. The politics is so dirty, right? And if we continue to be distracted of what they're trying out at us, to keep us not focusing on what is going to hit home, we need to be aware of their tactics and all that they're coming up with. Now, looking at Haiti, looking at the continent of Africa, and let us come down here to Guyana, or anywhere that have melanated people inhabiting these geographical space, we know that the asteroid that dropped on Haiti some years back, or some decades ago, the American government have trucking going on in Haiti. Now, is it any wonder that Santo Domingo is living so different to the Haitian? If you look at the geographical space in Santo Domingo, and everything that they're doing is by design, because Haiti, the asteroid that fell in Haiti, on the country of Santo Domingo and Haiti, the asteroid fell more on the Haitian side. Those Haitians are mostly black people, and they are poor. Looking at Santo Domingo, there's a total different way of living with the Santo Domingan half of the island. I'm saying that to say, everything that they're doing towards melanated people is by design, and it's by design to keep us poor in order for them to extract the minerals that the Most High given to us. Going back to the continent of Africa. Now, I'm not saying that progress are not being done on the continent of Africa. You come down to Guyana, where Guyana have oil, and you get the gist that I'm getting at. So we need to change these narrative, and we cannot do it by being isolated. Today, the new form of colonization is GMO, genetic modified organism. I'm going to mention two things to you, the King. I don't know if you're familiar with the word GURT. That's G-U-R-T. G-U-R-T.
Yes, in what context?
Genes or genetic use restriction technology.
Okay.
And it's also terminated genes. Terminated genes. And if you go to YouTube and you type in Monsanto, that's M-O-N-S-A-N, Monsanto.
Yes.
Or Seedco, S-W-E-D.co. you would come up with, when I saw this, I was so confounded, but not surprised. When you type in Seedco or Monsanto, you get names behind these companies like the Rockefeller, the Bill and Linda Gates Foundation, and you would find out why. The King, I've been home for 15 months now from my last job in the hotel industry.
Yes.
I went up to Lagwit and I purchased some slip, sweet pepper, eggplant, and onion. I saved seed from the sweet pepper and the eggplant. On them, had them sun-dried, throw them in the soil. They came up, but they never manufactured to anything. If any agricultural farmer out there in St. Kitts right now, Nevis, has had this experience, I want them to explain what their experience is if they're different to mine. Now, these same GMO, these seeds cannot reproduce. And why I say that the new form of colonization is genetic modified organism, it is happening on the continent of Africa, and it's in our supermarkets. These things are lace. King, if you come across these sites that I have.
If I may interject something to support what you're saying. After the earthquake that damaged Haiti, and there were some relief efforts afoot, they sent some of those seeds to Haiti, and the Haitians dumped them in the water. And people, because the Haitians, why? These seeds do not reproduce. They were trying to create a market of dependency on the Monsanto, so these things are known. They dump the seeds in the water because they do not reproduce.
I just say, they're cornering the market so that even the very fertilizer. And the thing is with these slips, right, that you get, these GMO slips that we have here in St. Kitts, because I am telling you that I purchased from the agriculture department.
And they'll call on the line?
I had them sun-dried, and they never reproduce. They never reproduce. Now, in order for you to get these, you have to also buy their GMO products, which are the seedlings. You have to buy their fertilizer. You have to buy their pesticides. So you see, it's the new form of colonization. Because once you eat these products from their seeds, their fertilizer, their pesticide, what can become of your health?
Okay.
Slowly, you are killing yourself.
I want to thank you for your contribution. That is a very valid one, well concerned. And the brother also always does the research before he presents. So, back to the topic first. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Hello?
Are you there? Welcome to the program. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
You're live on
man.
Voices.
Good afternoon, man.
Yes.
This Socrates.
Speaking.
Yeah, how are you guys doing, man?
We're doing fine. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I don't really know what the topic is, but I wanted to make some, I wanted to say something here today.
Beautiful. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I noticed that all of a sudden, the United States has sent, like, I think 500,000 dosage of vaccines down to Haiti.
That's the topic today.
No, I don't know where this stuff going, but this word they call democracy, man. This might be the new slavery, that's being imposed on black people around the world. America is going around dominating the world with this thing they call democracy, but inside Cuba and Haiti, it doesn't seem like democracy would ever play out there, because the people doesn't seem like they would ever get the chance to, put that democracy word into use. But the Caribbean region, man, the Caribbean region need not ignore Haiti and Cuba, because for me personally, I don't feel like Cuba is going to remain like how it is, because America went there and they dumped some cell phones, and they're passing out cell phones. And these cell phones, this is the new technology now. They was there sometime before, passing out cell phones and stuff. So that's why you see those young people are able to rise up there. And, that unity that these young people have, that's going to be the strength going forward for Cuba. The Cuban government is going to come under a lot of pressure, bro. Because those people in Cuba finally, they got the courage to come out and demonstrate in the street. The rhetoric I notice has stepped up in St. Kitts and Nevis, but it's a difference, man. I don't see the people in St. Kitts and Nevis have that type of courage. They can talk all the smack, they could talk about the government, but right now, anybody in St. Kitts and Nevis who think they're bad, let them move now. Because trust me, you know, the government, they know what they're doing. The government know what they're doing. The government is, the Prime Minister has been helping so much in St. Kitts and Nevis where it ain't funny. But the people in them there, you know, I don't know what to really say about them, bro. But I know that Prime Minister has been trying, bro. You know, ain't nobody can say he hasn't been trying. But the only two things that I want to say about that stimulus got to hit the poor people. And there was a talk about some vouchers going back to the big stores. I think those vouchers need to hit the small.
Okay,
you know,
let me see if I can help you there.
Small shops in the communities.
Let me see if I can help you there, right?
Yeah.
The reason why those two establishments were favored because they both contributed some $50,000 to the program.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
So, but
if not, the government could tell you, well, you have to shop there. These two establishments, I understand, contributed or donated $50,000 each to the program.
Okay, so let me cross-check you right there. So does that mean that the money got to go back to them?
Well, if you have 10 establishments in the federation, and the government give out a package of, say, 250,000, right? And two stores or two of the establishment donated $50,000 each to the program. How would you feel about you going shopping any old place?
Okay, so in terms of so maybe you're trying to say to me the government is rewarding them or giving them that money back that they contributed, but how is that contributing to the society? If I ditch out $50,000 and the government gave that money back to me, I still didn't really help the community then. I still didn't give back to the community as a big store in the community who has been.
Let me get Ras Kalonji to weigh in on this for me, please. Ras, help me out here.
My brother. Now, the caller before, right, and when you're talking about what is happening in Haiti and Cuba, my position is, my organization position is, which is the African Consciousness Movement, is that whatever differences that we have amongst ourselves, it's time for us to sit down and trash it out, because the imperialist forces doesn't have our interests at heart. It doesn't make any sense, me and you here bickering. We have a difference of opinion in terms of what is happening because we are not responsible for COVID.
Okay, I totally agree with you.
So what I'm saying to you, as we say locally, live with your water and that. We have to trash out our differences and move forward with a collective approach. What is happening in Haiti and Cuba is all part of the same program, as the brother was saying before, in terms of the seeds that these companies are producing, is to have us more dependent on them. And that is why COVID-19 was put upon the world also. So you could be more dependent on the imperialist forces, where now they could usher in fascism, because they're not hiding what they want to do anymore. They're doing it openly. What is happening here in St. Kitts is happening throughout the whole globe.
Yeah,
it's nothing unique.
I would never disagree with you with that type of points, because me, I agree with unity and that type of stuff that I've been hearing you talk about. And for me, somehow, right, with this pandemic that came out, I kind of wanted to find a way to equate it with reparations, right? And where I was going to go with it was they organized the thing they call the COVAX facility, right? And like St. Kitts, the Prime Minister said they must have contributed towards that. But for me, they should have made them bigger. If those people want the small islands to take the vaccines, they should have made those big countries, industrialized countries, contribute the money towards the facility. You know what I'm saying? And also another point I want to make, when it comes to reparations, man, the region got to be united. And I noticed that Jamaica has a letter they're pushing through to their parliament, to the Queen, concerning reparations, and Antigua has followed suit. Not because those two islands are sovereign nations, and they feel like they can go for reparations on their own, the CARICOM heads of government there in the Caribbean, they should never allow any individual Caribbean islands to go after reparations on their own. CARICOM need to get all the islands together and go after reparations as a unit, because, they're not going to be powerful on their own, and they're just going to get played out, man.
But
Jamaica.
We're going to take this call shortly.
That's my further contribution, man. I listen off the air, man.
Okay, thanks for your contribution. We're taking this call.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we go to lines. Mr. Call. Okay. We also do a station break with a word from the sponsors. If you don't get a call right now, you can take it to word from the sponsors.
Here are your Horsfield's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag specials from July 15 through 28. 32-ounce Gatorade, just $4.99. Hawaiian Punch drinks, $11.99. Danone and Activia yogurts, 4 packs, fit and light, just $12.99. Cole's garlic bread, toast, $12.99. Granola bars, just $10.99 per pack. Pastaroni or rice-a-roni, just $4.99. And now, our very low weekly value deal. Essential Everyday and IGA Honey Beer, $12.99. Breyers Ice Cream, 48 ounces, just $20.99. Colgate Toothpaste, $9.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart. Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
So welcome back to Voices as we go straight to the phone lines. And we miss a caller. So yeah, the point we're making just now. If these two establishments give $50,000 each to the program. Okay, caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon, caller.
Socrates.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you? Welcome back to the program.
Good afternoon, Kalanja. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Sister Sylvia.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes. Now, I've been listening to you all before you all got off course.
We went off course.
About the history of Haiti.
Haiti, yes.
And I am still listening and waiting to hear some suggestion as to why and how they can overcome it. Is it that the Haitians don't know their own history?
They do. But you have a heavy foot, you have a heavy boot on their neck. If you look at the policies of the U.S.
No. Talking about, do they know? Do they know or understand so that they could see the need to move the country forward?
Look at the example of the Duvaliers.
Migration cannot be the answer.
Look at the history of the Duvaliers.
I hear that, you know.
Yes. And that is why you have all this revolution, all this fighting, all this protest, because the government they put there to suppress the people, to serve a certain form of interest.
This is what I want to know. Because even now, you have one in there, we out here saying America mustn't go in.
Mm-hmm.
They're in there calling them in. So where do we go from here?
The one who was calling them in was the deputy, the interim prime minister, Claude Joseph.
That's what I mean.
Who was of the same mindset as the former prime minister who was assassinated. They're on the same page.
You know, so I want to clear on gender one. Well, how can they pay the Haitians? What can they do to help themselves?
Not to help them. We got to help them. It's all of our struggle. The Haitian struggle is our struggle.
What are they doing to help themselves?
They've been doing it, and imperialism have been.
Ask you what?
What? Okay, let me state this. When President
I'll hang up so to put the line.
President Aristide was removed from power twice, right? The second time around, President Aristide asked France for reparations, right? The United States
was demanding that they pay back all that they extorted.
Exactly. Right? And the United States government and France say he got to go.
Orchestrated his removal.
Yeah, and then we keep asking the question, what we have to do. President Aristide was there trying to do something. President Aristide rose the minimum wage from $1
Yes.
to $2.
He built schools.
Yeah.
He disbanded the army for 5 years and put that money into educating the people.
And
when he was taken out of Haiti, you know what they did? They paid those army generals 5 years back pay, took the school buses, gave it back to the army, and rebuilt the military to suppress the people, reversing all the efforts. The average Haitian worked for a US dollar a day, and he changed that.
Exactly.
But the foreign interests decided, no, you have to go. And they went in and took him out. And we go straight to the phone lines. Call your live on voices.
Hey, the King, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Africa. Welcome to the program.
It's not Mrs. Henry, good afternoon, and to all, good afternoon. Mrs. Henry, they need to leave us alone. Leave us alone.
They ain't gonna leave us alone. We got to make them leave us alone.
And a person who rise up like Moses, if I could use a biblical example, or Joshua, or the others, every time that person rise up, they systematically remove them.
Charlemagne.
Point, Magafuli, leave us alone. Let us
Charlemagne.
manage our own affair. When prophet comes, it's rare. One every 500 years or what have you. But when a prophet comes, allow the prophet to prophesy and leave us alone so that the nation can benefit. Just leave us alone. Leave us alone. That is the problem. Why are you going to remove somebody who is doing nice, something good, to create to destabilize the nation? And then you're going to ask an apologist. An apologist is going to come and overlook that we need to be left alone and going to ask dubious questions, these type of questions that is out of the context, out of what they are saying. Examples right there. Some persons who are allowed to go up for office and are voted in, and some persons, other persons are also allowed to go up for office and are voted in, but some of it have been manipulated from
orchestrated
behind. And then when that happens now, we get a government, yes, but the fruits of that government will be born like Aristide. What was wrong with calling for reparations? It's a shame that they have to live with, because they think that the gods are asleep, but our gods are not asleep. And that was the example in the war that our gods came over with us. Why the war was defeated. Not just the French, not just the Spanish, also the English and the
Americans
was defeated.
On their own. They did all that, defeated all those mighty armies. And then the Americans sent in the Marine.
The point you have made on the radio station earlier is that Haiti, with the struggles in South America, Boulevard, and those others, Jamaicans, like what they call Bookman, he was a past profession. Jamaicans, Guadeloupe, Martinique, all of the colonies, the decree from Haiti was sent out to all of the colonies. Once you come here, because there was an example where ships left from Jamaica, went there, and the British authority in Jamaica went and asked for the people who came there from the British colony of Jamaica. And the Haitian authority say, you can take your ship, but these people are free people. We were free if we reached the shores of Haiti. Exactly. That was the decree.
That was offered to the plantations in the US also.
And still the French and still the Spanish in the Americas. Once you get to the shores of Haiti, you were a free person. We just need to be left alone. Stop asking these questions as to what we're going to do. Why are you going to disrupt it and then ask us what we're going to do? Stop disrupting us. We can manage things. We've been managing things for thousands of years.
Franklin,
the pyramids,
Africa.
They're still standing for thousands of years.
Africa.
And even the Japanese with their high technology cannot replicate it.
Franklin Roosevelt wrote a constitution and sent him to govern Haiti. and sent in the Marines to enforce it. President Charlemagne, fought them. Eventually, he was captured, slaughtered, put in a door, and paraded around Haiti. They took a picture of his body, dead body, and put in planes and with those flyers and spread it all over Haiti as to show them the example of what would happen to you.
Not only that, the thief all the gold from
We
Haiti.
all agree, even in our little space, the King and Kalanji, even in our little space here.
So when people talk about Haiti and the
administration
poor,
is sworn in for 5 years.
and the
It
poverty.
will take them more than 5 years to get up off the ground. and
Look
to
at the
take
example of the Valiers, Papa Duck and Baby Duck, raping the resources while defending and supporting the American interest to destabilize the country.
But Brother
And I
Africa,
just
you
want to
say...
make a little bit correction from what the earlier young brothers, Pan-Africanist said about the asteroid.
Yes.
It was over hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, the asteroid has hit
Haiti.
And as a result of that rare earth, that is pivotal and vital for the aerospace
program.
dynamic program, they need that rare earth because it was Haiti that was hit with an asteroid thousands of years ago, maybe, and
so
South Africa. And so you see certain minerals it's craved after. Certain minerals is craved after.
And so
once
trucks,
these guys see
there are some
things with
trucks
the satellite, you're going to go after them.
making trips 24/7 under the ban of the UN, taking out that mineral, and you cannot stop them and so because the government don't have the authority. The UN is operating there, but they're actually raping that mineral resources from Haiti under the guise of the UN.
Good.
So,
And
Sister Henry, what can we do? CARICOM. The region have to get up and support Haiti the same way that Russia was able to assist Cuba. If not, Cuba would be suffering the same fate of Haiti today.
You see, and what I'm saying, Brother Socrates, is that just what you explained, they don't let our people know these things. So what I'm saying, as Brother Africa was saying, you know what I mean, leave us alone. They're not going to leave us alone.
No.
We have to make them leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we have to do. That is the solution. And as I said to our sister Sylvine, the Haitian struggle is our struggle. Anywhere black people is struggling to liberate themselves is our struggle. And we must stop internalize this propaganda that our oppressors put out. And we internalize them and feel to ourselves that is something wrong with us.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with us.
We were trained to hate the Haitians even a few years ago when there was a couple of incidents where they came by boat, etc. So you can refuse, run them, send them back because it's OB and all kind of nonsense. Our ignorance, facts do not matter to fools. That is the problem.
But what I'm saying to you, that we have another phone.
We have a phone call. Caller, you're live in Voices. Welcome to the program. Good day, caller. You're live on the program. There may be an issue with the connections. Want to send shout out to, in the meantime, to Sister Brenda up there. And we have a next caller. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Socrates,
Speaking.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Lovely hearing your voice every time.
Good afternoon, Rascal.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Good afternoon to all the listeners, Socrates.
Thank you very much.
And me logo sign make up for one shot.
I know.
Yeah.
So good afternoon to Sharon. Sharon is on the board today.
Sister Shari, good afternoon. Socrates, let me deliver a message to my cousin Henry. She made an assignment and for the longest while me pan but
certainly.
Cousin Henry, I cannot find Miss Peters or Mrs. Peters at all. And the closest me can get to you to the assignment that you give me. Family moved to St. Kitts, come back to Montshot, one dead. I want lady named Miss Edwards. That are the closest me can get. And Miss Edwards on all pass about 3 years ago. So I don't know if you can get one other description, but me can't find Miss Peters at all. Okay, Socrates, back to you.
Sir.
Listen to me. You know why the Bible so difficult and hard to believe.
Enlighten me.
Because we got things, the Bible now, you have to believe by faith. Right?
Yes.
You got things that are right in front of you. And you not believe that. Greater faith is he who do not see and believe, then who see and believe. If you see something in a no kind of faith is all to believe them. Can you see them?
It doesn't challenge you.
But you still got things right in front of you. Right in front of you. And you still not believe. You get that?
I'm following you. It's biblical.
All right. Watch me now.
Mm-hmm.
Remember one time you asked Cousin Henry if what take place now, if you can match them with like the mark of the beast, and she said no. She not see no relationship, right?
That is correct.
You remember that?
Yes, there's no correlation.
Right. Watch me now. Socrates, me listen to you, me listen to all of you, you know. And why you not recognize the man not the lab better or worse than NATO put together?
The man in the lab, the scientist,
yes,
has more control than
exactly
NATO and all the international armed forces,
the whole
alliances,
army put together.
Mm-hmm.
The man that is better than them.
Because we want to be governed by science.
Exactly. Look what the man that the lab do to us I do to our presently. And you get the scotch free. You get that? Which you know if the army can't go do anything, you know the army.
Mm-hmm.
You get that plainly?
But we're told on every level to follow the science and believe in the science.
Yeah, and you can't see. You can't see because watch out, the little touch that them a touch the world now, you know. Remember, if them a do this here, he only show you that they can wipe away out. Easily. They can just make this thing stronger than how they got them now. You get the point?
The news isn't good.
Yes, but they put the whole point about it. The program, and our plan. And the plan have to take a course. So listen to me. The plan is that they cannot wipe away out otherwise. If they wipe out the whole world out. In other words, that means the Bible itself now going to be true.
I have to be fulfilled. Okay.
You have to fulfill.
The prophecy.
Socrates, you pick me up now. You get that?
Yeah, I'm following you.
The Bible have to fulfill because I want your book.
So fear not.
Well, another matter fear not. At the matter of your heart to Christ. Because there will be two destinations.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want eternal punishment or want eternal life.
Okay.
And what we actually fight for, and so forth and so. The planners them, remember the planners them now got, you can say now got the world in their hand, you know. You get me? And just notice, he go to plan. And who are the planners? The government, all the government of the day. Let me start a monstrous. And let me come back. The St. Kitts Nevis, Antigua. Just notice, when the planners then tell you, listen, 6 feet distance. I got 6 feet distance down there.
It's the same policy being rolled out.
Right through the entire world.
So it's part of the program.
Through the entire world.
It's a universal program.
We need to get, how we not in it together. And the planners, them are do them thing. And then our government now call one state of emergency. Set the curfew. Them tell them what to do. You step out. Then that the police will lock you up for charge you. Come on, man. Kalunja, my eye.
All according to the plan. All according to the plan.
Socrates, let me give somebody else one chance and listen.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Man is okay. Vascalanji is talking language. You say it's a pandemic. He says a pandemic.
It is a pandemic.
Okay, but yes, we appreciate his call, his input, and I guess his cousin Henry may respond to that. But the whole thing with Haiti and the question that she posed as to what are the people to do, what can they do?
She had a call.
She says there's no call at the moment. There's a call on the line, right? Okay. We go straight to the lines. Caller, welcome to the program. You're live on Voices.
The thing, I just wanted to way back in and to ask you to check out this name and check it out. Baino Bello. I think it's B-A-I-N-O. Baino Bello. B-E-L-L-O.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll do that.
That source of information coming from Haiti is very pivotal. I think a lady, she's a lawyer by profession, but she's also other things. But she have a wealth of information as to what is really going on.
All right, I need to because I'm in the process of writing my 4th song on Haiti. There's going to be a competition on the 26th of next month. It's called the Caribbean Calypso Community, and we have about 35 Calypsonians involved. Crazy, Tigress, Kurt Allen, the names. And I'm gonna do a song called "Standing Alone" because they have been standing alone forever since they raised that image of the black person being able to show off their masters, defeat slavery, and establish themselves as a people. At a time when the world were teaching that blacks were inferior, they showed you no. They defeated Europe's and America and the British greatest armies and free themselves. And have ever been punished for that until now.
And that's why our people don't understand.
But the king.
Yes.
That speaks volume.
To our people.
That speaks volume beyond the surface. That
Yes.
speaks volume beyond the surface. Because in the religious circle and in the what you call those those conservative Christians, you would have heard them on their mouthpiece, the prophet and the machine program, orchestrating and devising and coming up as to the Haitians made a pact with the devil.
Yes, the nonsense.
Those very same people, right, that knows what the Bible says, because Jesus, according to them, according to the narrative, was accused of casting out Beelzebub, casting out the devil with Beelzebub, some sort of devil family, And he told them that, no, it cannot be so. How could I use the devil mechanism, a devil entity, to cast out another devil entity? I'm destroying the entities. I'm destroying that organization. I'm weakening that organization. No, I had to use something opposite.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Okay.
To do that, to be successful.
All right.
So when the Christians would say that the Haitians made a pact with the devil, well, the French, who had their necks on the Haitian people, the British, the Spanish, and the Americans, well, they are the God people. Well, it's sad to say, but it was the other way around because
of course
the atrocities that was committed, and him not the head of the United Nations said that this was a crime against humanity.
They were even late with that.
Evil. That was the evil.
They were even late with that.
And trying to free yourself was the righteous cause.
Okay.
Because if you're going to say that you believe in the Bible and Joseph and all the children of Israel was under the yoke of Pharaoh, and you see Pharaoh as the evil, well, you have modern-day Pharaoh according to their narrative. And the modern-day Pharaohs are the ones like Napoleon and all those guys.
Okay.
But
Well, thank you.
if the children of Israel was freed from the hands of God, well, the people of Haiti was freed from the same hands of God. Come on, people. Know your African
We see
terror.
the hypocrisy. Here's what. I want to put this out there. There's a book called The Unbroken Agony, written by Mr. Randolph Robinson. He's a civil rights attorney. I think he lived here for some time. He may be here or back in the U.S., but it's written about Haiti. He was actually there when they inaugurated Aristide on both occasions. And we go to the line. Caller, you're live on Voices. Okay, Mr. Caller. So the book is entitled The Unbroken Agony. And the author is Mr. Randolph Robinson. I think he's the husband of Hazel Ross Robinson. Have you met him?
Yeah, man, I know Brother Randall.
Okay.
I met him in New York.
Okay. And we go to the phone lines. Caller, welcome to the program. You're live on Voices.
Oh, yes, it's me again. Just a message to my family
Your cousin,
in
yes.
Montserrat.
Mm-hmm.
The name is Mrs. Brown, not Peters. Mrs. Brown, who owned a jewelry store in Plymouth. All right, then.
Thank you.
You still there?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Russ.
Yeah, but
because,
I wanted to say that, you're saying, well, the question is out there, what the Haitians, we have to, it's our people.
Mhm.
And we have to assist them in every way. Because, another caller?
Yes. Caller, you're live on the program. Welcome to Voices.
Yes, good afternoon, Socrates.
Good afternoon. How about that?
I wish to thank you for hosting this program on Haiti.
Very
and
welcome.
I wish to say that you are displaying great self-respect, great historical awareness, and phenomenal political insight. It is my hope that the people of St. Kitts will be educated and enlightened as a result of this conversation today, and that they would walk a bit taller and be a bit more aware of the contributions that Haiti made to freedom in the entire Western Hemisphere. So thank you for all that you're doing. Thank you very much.
You're very welcomed. And of course, we have Brother Ross Cullengy here with us, helping to support the narrative that we are a great people. We were told that we are not, but the Haitians prove that we are. Breaking down the myth of white supremacy that could not allow to be put up there.
But at that particular time in history.
Yes.
When there was, we had rebellions all over the Western world. Because the rebellion started in Jamaica before Haiti, But Bookman, Bookman, right, when he came on the scene. So what I'm trying to show you is that our people don't have that insight and that history about what our people did in terms of resisting the enslavement. So Haiti being the first to actually liberate themselves. The whole white world was saying, man, this is an embarrassment to us because we are saying that these people are inferior.
What did they say to us? Forget about your past. Forget slavery. It was illegal to be able to read and write if you're found with a book, because that information about you, your people, your race, had to be hidden from you.
But not only that, but at that particular time, my brother, even though the forms of communication, the enslaved was communicating with one another throughout the Caribbean and throughout the Americas. You understand? And now we have internet now. We can't even do that.
But sadly,
on a regular basis.
Sadly, you have a cell phone in your hand with access to so much information about yourself. What you do? You copy some mail on the street, some fight, and you send it around the world. But to educate yourself at a chance when you can, it was denied you. People died to be learned to read and write.
Not only that, but here in St. Kitts, the governor, which was in Antigua, they made a law, they passed a law for Africans to learn to read. And what I'm saying to you is that, okay, even now, look at our people, right? They bleach their skin. That is the...
It's so sad.
The what I'm saying, that is the kind of information that fed into our people to actually hate them, their own self. And our people have to understand these things. Is that even though these things happened long time ago, that's what they call post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Yes.
These things are still with us in our genes. And a serious attempt has not been made, you know what I mean, to right the wrongs that was done to us. Because look, we own these schools, and it takes programs like this because we have to teach these things to our youth from primary to show them. Even the sister was talking
Henry?
about. No, sister.
Oh, Sharon?
Yeah, was talking about critical race theory in the United States. Imagine that critical race theory is about actually teaching the proper history what took place in the United States about the treatment of African people. And you have white people is saying, though, they don't want that to be taught because that is Marxism.
They
and
would
it's
have to
wrong.
acknowledge that Haiti sent troops to assist them during the Civil War.
Exactly.
They would have to teach that.
And what I'm saying to you, my brother, and to our people, is that Haitians being who they are, is that the white world have vowed to put Haiti in a condition and treat them in a particular way. Yeah, that the shining light of the Haitian Revolution should never come to light, and our people understand how important it was back then that the Haitian Revolution caused in the Western world, and not only in the Western world, but throughout the globe.
South America.
You understand? So I'm saying to you is that these are the kind of things that we have to teach to our youth, to show them not only the importance of the Haitian Revolution, but the greatness, right, of African people, even before we was enslaved. You understand? So, you know, we live in even in this age of COVID-19. You know, we look at certain things and saying that we in a real bad position. Our situation is getting worse, but the enemy situation is also getting worse because it's a dialectic. We only look at our side of the equation. There's two sides to everything, and I'm telling you, we are living in very important times because we on the threshold of our liberation. But what happens is that the leadership of our people don't know that. But we have to educate and inform our people that liberation is at hand.
Pause on that point as we pay tribute to our sponsors.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cash Back is back. But this time, Cash Back is back with more quality appliances, more great prices, and fantastic deals. More of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Welcome to our viewers and listeners back to the program. Today we have a very hot topic. We're discussing Haiti, and to some extent we discuss Cuba because I put forward the idea if Russia didn't come forward and help Cuba after the revolution, it would have been another Haiti. We take this call. Caller, you live on Voices.
I think this will be my last contribution. I want to thank the lady for weighing in and letting the public know how important these information that you are shedding light on collectively is how important they are. But Kalandi touched on the education system just now. I'm a young Pan-Africanist brother. He always is very passionate. And he read a letter. I'm not sure if he read a letter. He read a letter on your program, but I listened to Frank and Kanye, he did. He read a letter on Other Voices episode, but I'm not sure it was with you. Lord Macaulay in 1835, the 2nd of February, Lord Macaulay address to the British Parliament. Well, who was this Lord Macaulay? He is the one who formulated the curricula, the British curricula that most of us enjoy today throughout the British Empire. And he is telling, Lord Macaulay was telling about the education system back then on the continent, specifically the state that became known as Nigeria, as to how that British education system that was formulated by himself.
I'm going to give you the next minute to wrap up because we're coming down. So take a next minute.
Would take hold and break the back of the education system, the cultural system, and the spiritual system of the person in Nigeria at that time. Very, very pivotal. Because I heard Mrs. Henry spoke on it Wednesday, and she's saying Lord Macaulay wasn't effective. Yes, he was.
Well, we discussed it last week to some extent.
He was effective.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Beautiful. Okay, we got, are there any other callers line? Okay, let's take it away. We got about 5 more minutes before we get to the bottom of the hour. Malik 10, you got to check out your clock. Anyway, not a problem. Go ahead, Ross.
But you know what I'm saying, brother, the discussion on Haiti is so imperative and so crucial at this time, because then we could reflect from in the past to show that Haiti was a trailblazer, a shining star, you know what I mean, that we could emulate in order to move our people forward. But the Haitian struggle is also our struggle.
I agree with you.
Africans in the West, which I term the Republic of New Africa. Haiti is just one of the territories in the whole republic. You see? You have a phone call.
Caller, your live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I wanted to get back in and ask a quick question.
Quickly, thanks.
Does anybody know, why would they want Moise assassinated at this time? What was he not doing that whoever force would want to get rid of him at this time?
My understanding...
Can you give us, I'll list them off the year.
Okay. Just about every president that has taken office in Haiti over the past 60 years, as a matter of fact, going back beyond that, has been supported, even put there, orchestrated by the U.S. government. And if the policies of the leadership are not reflected through the people's benefit, people will protest. There's been a series of protests. It was argued that he had overstayed his term in office. I'm not saying that's any reason for anybody to take that measure that was taken. But people have been protesting the knees and the boots on the neck for the longest while. That country has been destabilized by the many leadership that brought there. We look at Aristide's contribution in the interest of the people's upliftment, and he was taken out, actually taken out, put on a plane and sent out of his country to put in place a puppet. And so you find what you have there, when you have these people in offices, the people will protest. Sadly led to his death, but that is the general narrative. People are protesting, not because they want to protest, right? But they've been hurting, they've been suffering, and they need relief. Until they get the leader they can support and believe in, you're going to find a kind of thing playing out. Well,
phone call.
We take our last call because we want to get a chance for us to wrap up. We miss a call. Okay, go ahead if you can.
But as you explained, brother Socrates, you see, when it comes a time when the imperialist forces think that your time is up, because you could go to the Philippines. I could show you an example with Marcos. Marcos was a stooge of the United States. President Reagan called him and told him when the people was protesting, it's time for you to go.
So with Noriega?
Marcos cried like a child. Same thing with Saddam Hussein. They put Saddam Hussein in power, but it comes a time when you're not relevant to their interests anymore.
The British put what the guy there in Uganda.
Idi Amin?
They put him in power. He was the perfect soldier. So they thought they would put him in office when they had to leave and manipulate and control him. The power went to his head. They knew he was illiterate. But he was the person that could say, okay, go and wipe out this village, go and so on and so on. So they put him in place and thought they would stay overseas and control him. He became uncontrollable, and so he had to go. But I believe you, they put these people in place to control them so they can carry out their agenda.
Exactly.
That's what happens.
But it comes a time when the agenda expires because when they look at the situation, they say, no, this guy is embarrassing us. So what? You got to go. But what I'm saying to you now is that our people, Marcus Garvey said that we have to have self-confidence. We have to have confidence in ourselves that we will liberate ourselves and stop trying to depend or look to other people, because in this dispensation right now, before times, most of our people were colonized. We are not colonized anymore in the true sense.
But the policies.
Yeah, we might be in a state of neocolonialism, but what I'm saying now, our people, it's time for our people to rise. Because what I'm saying, Babylon system, imperialism, which now they have to usher in fascism, is that it's under decline and they know it. So it's like they're grasping at straws. You understand? That's why I tell you before, that's why COVID-19 was implemented, because capitalism as a system is in serious crisis. So the pandemic now come as a distraction. Not only that as a distraction, but even though COVID could kill you, they're also making money, because even with the vaccines, there's a patent on the vaccines. Only certain countries could produce the vaccines. You see? So I could look at it from a point of view that they want to extract.
As a matter of fact, Biden said that he don't trust the vaccine in Cuba, so he wants to send in.
But not only that, but the same AstraZeneca now, he wants to send it to us, which is not approved in the United States. But that's another topic. We're dealing with Haiti. So what I'm trying to show you is that Haiti, my brother, is our bright and morning shining star. And whatever, as Dr. Clark has said, whatever we have done, we could do in the future. So I have no fear that we'll be confident in the victory of good over evil, right? But is winding up time?
Yeah. Well, you see, when we go to the UN and sign on, I'm talking about all the individual countries, sign on to the various conventions. Sometimes we don't know what's in our best interest. We see what's in front of us, but the agendas that we sign on to that does not incorporate or include Haiti's best interests. So there's a meism approach to when we go out there and we're looking funding, etc., etc. We have to sign these conventions. You say Haiti's all our problem, I agree. But the collective heads of government must come together and craft a policy that helps to support Haiti and their best interests. But you got the higher powers who dictate, well, if you go there, you can't go there. So there's something about the blackmail.
Because for instance, when President Aristide was kidnapped, right? They took him to Antigua,
Yes.
And then from Antigua to Africa. Now, I think it's P.J. Patterson who was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And he said he would like to bring President Aristide back to Jamaica. The United States government tell me you can't do that.
Too close.
You understand what I'm saying?
You're too close.
So we know that these people dictate these things, and then when we tell our people these things, they don't see the relevance. United States do these things. For instance, when President Aristide was kidnapped, I have a DVD clip where he show you that George Bush was the
George Bush, yeah.
Yeah. He said that President Aristide resigned.
He resigned. And the Americans are going to go in now and try to and stabilize the country so democracy will have a chance.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to show you, what I'm saying to our people, that they cannot hide and distort and manipulate these things anymore. These things are here. We could see them. You could go to YouTube and see all these things. Just like what's happening with the pandemic right now. But I think it's winding up time.
It is.
And I would like to give you a quote from His Imperial Majesty and African Unity, because that is what is necessary. We even see what is happening in South Africa, where the masses are rising again. And you see, a lot of times when we see black people in power, we say, oh, black people rising up against black people. But if your actions are manifesting, our enslaver, then, as I said before, we have to make a distinction. You're either for African liberation or you're supporting the enemy.
Okay.
And African unity is the accepted goal. Today we look to the future calmly, confidently, and courageously. We look to the vision of an Africa not merely free but united. In facing this new challenge, we can take comfort and encouragement from the lessons of the past. We know that there are differences among us. Africans enjoy different cultures, distinct values, special attributes, but we also know that unity can be and has been attained amongst men of the most desperate origin, that differences of race, of religion, of culture, of tradition are no inseparable obstacles to the coming together of peoples. History teaches us that unity is strength and caution us to submerge and overcome our differences in the quest for common goals, to strive with all our combined strength for the path of true African brotherhood and unity. Let us not deny our ideals nor sacrifice our rights to stand as the champion of the poor, the ignorant and the down-pressed everywhere. Principles alone can endow our ideals with force and meaning. Let us be true to what we believe, that our beliefs may serve and honor us. We remain persuaded that in our efforts to scatter the clouds which dim the horizon of our future, success must come, if only because failure is unthinkable. Patience and grim determination are required, and faith in the Almighty, the Most High, Jah, Rastafari, and our ancestors. That is the way for true African liberation.
I want to say thank you for being the guest of this program today. It's been some time, and I'm happy to welcome you back to the studios of WINNFM 98.9. It's that time that we have to come to the end of this program. I want to thank all the callers, those who made the contribution, those who viewed the program, etc., for being a part of this program today. From the studios of WINNFM 98.9, Socrates setting out. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Voices.
As we sign out, what Granny said, African unity is the only solution to all the pollution.
Peace.